Evening, friends. Welcome everyone for today's webinar on Mastercard's ruling. So there were like a couple of rulings which we wanted to discuss. The High Court ruling on the stay coming very recently, if I'm not wrong, 15-20 days back, and there was an AAR ruling which was given a few years back. So just thought we'll shed some lights on these ruling and also what shall be the way forward. Way forward, in our view, what would be the ramification of both the rulings. So before starting, would like to acknowledge the effort of Sundar Rajan for preparing this presentation. The legends used in the presentation: AAR, Authority for Advanced Ruling. Applicant is Mastercard Asia Pacific PT Limited, BOI Bank of India, DTAA Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement, EL Equalization Levy, FAR Functions Assets and Risk Analysis, FTS Fees for Technical Service, Honorable IP Intellectual Property, MCI Mastercard International Incorporated, MIP Mastercard Interface Processor, MISPL Mastercard India Services Private Limited, P Permanent Establishment, Revenue Income Tax Department, TDS Tax Deducted at Source, and TP Transfer Pricing. Schema for the evening overview. What were the various issues and contentions relating to the AR ruling? What was exactly the AR ruling? The Honorable Delhi High Court ruling, which has come recently, and our view on the way forward. So let's get started, friends. Again, Mastercard Asia Pacific PT Limited. It's a Singapore-based company engaged in payment solutions, facilitating use of electronic forms of payment. It has an Indian subsidiary in the name of Mastercard India Services Private Limited (MISPL). Since December 2014, services by the applicant were carried out in India through MISPL. So whatever services the Singapore company had to provide, it was being provided from the Indian subsidiary. Applicant filed application before AAR Delhi on 23rd January 2014, posing questions on applicability of provisions of taxation under India-Singapore DTAA. So what were the various questions being asked? Before that, the structure. A Mastercard International US licenses IP to the applicant, that is Singapore, Mastercard Singapore and Indian customers. Mastercard Singapore being the applicant, it has one subsidiary, Mastercard India, uh, in India, and Bank of India, which performs the settlement activity on behalf of the applicant. Mastercard Singapore owns part of Mastercard network, which is again a fixed fee, place fee of the applicant, which we'll see later, friends. Mastercard India carries out transaction processing services and habitually secures the order on behalf of the applicant. Owns MIP, that is Mastercard Interface, which is located in India, and fees collected from the bank are treated as royalty since dominant purpose is for licensing trademark. So this is the overall structure for the entire Mastercard group. Now let us see what were the issues which were raised before the AAR. What were the questions which the AAR has to answer in order to provide their ruling. First question was whether Mastercard India would be a P, a fixed, or would be forming a P of Mastercard Singapore in India. So this was the first question which was being asked. Okay, before that, facts of the cases. Applicant provides service to its customer. What we have seen in flowchart, Mastercard Singapore provides service to its customers in that is banks, financial institutions in the Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa region in accordance with the master license agreements. Applicant charges the following types of fees from its customers, which are generally the banks and FIs. Processing fees for authorization, assignment fees for billing and maintenance processing network, miscellaneous revenue for provision of services. The customer is provided with Mastercard interface processor, that is MIP, that connects to Mastercard's network and processing that is located outside India. MIP is about the size of a standard personal computer and is placed at the customer's location in India. MIPL owns the MIP located in India. So this is what the facts of the case. Now, what were the questions before AR to give its ruling? Question asked to AR whether the applicant has a P in India in accordance with the provisions of India Singapore DTAA in respect of services to be rendered with regard to use of a global network infrastructure to process card payment transactions for customers in India. So whatever services they are providing to the Indian banks and Indian FIs, whether for that services, whether applicant has P in India by virtue of a subsidiary or other payment interface or network, without prejudice to the above, where a P of the applicant in the form of his an Indian subsidiary is found to exist in India, whether provisions of arms and remuneration to such P for the activities to be performed in India would absolve any further attribution of the global profits of the applicant in India. So the second question was when arm's length remuneration is being paid to such P from Singapore to India, when arm's length remuneration is being paid, whether it would absolve any further attribution of the global profits of the applicant in India. That was the second question asked. Whether the fees to be received by the applicant from Indian customers would be chargeable to tax in India as royalty or fees for technical service within the meaning of Article 12 of India Singapore DTAA. So, what would be the character of the income received from Indian customers? Whether any tax withholding at source would be required on the amounts to be received by the applicant with processing fees, assessment fees, and other miscellaneous. So these three would be the major revenue for applicant in India: processing fees, assessment fees, and other miscellaneous revenue, which we have seen in previous slide. Whether any tax needs to be withheld from income tax perspective. So these were the four broad questions before the AR to give its ruling. Now, what were the contentions of the assessee, that is the applicant, as well as the revenue? First, we see what are the contentions of the applicant. Applicant says it's an entity incorporated in Singapore and does not have any presence in India. Applicant stated that MIP, this Mastercard interface processor and related network, do not perform core functions, and that its network is located outside India, which consists of server and related machinery and equipment which performs significant functions. So it says the MIP and the related network do not perform core functions. So the major functions are being done outside India. Applicant content and the location of MIP in India does not create P. Keeping this as a base, MIP in India does not create P. Applicant further stated that the service fee received from the customers are not taxable as royalties, since charges received are for rendering service and not for use of secret process. Further, the applicant contending that the payments made by the customers are not taxable as FTS, since the make available requirement is not being fulfilled. So, for three things, that is P, royalty, and FTS. For P, it says the major core functions are being performed outside India. Hence, the MIP in India would not create P of the applicant in India. For royalty, it said charges received are for rendering service and not for use of secret process. Second or thirdly, FTS, the applicant contains the payments made by the customers are not taxable as FTS, because India Singapore DTAA has a make available clause. What is make available clause? That while providing services, if you along with the service, if you make available the knowledge regarding that services in such a way that in future the recipient do not require your assistance. If that is being done or that is being provided, then it is said that make available clause is satisfied, and then it would be charged as FTS. So these were the contentions of applicant, that basis which there is no P, so no business income, no royalty, and no FTS, so no taxability. Accordingly, no withholding of tax. So these were the contentions of the applicant regarding the taxability of income. Now let us see what were the contentions of revenue in this regard or against the contentions of the assessee. Firstly, revenue stated the transfer pricing report of MISPL, that is the Indian entity for financial year 14-15, states that MIPs are doing preliminary examination and validation of information at the time, the point of authorization, which shows that MIP performs significant functions. So department went a step ahead and said that the TP report of MISPL states that MIPs are doing examination and validation of information at the point of authorization, which is again a core function. So assessee or the applicant was saying that it is not a core function, but the TP report of MISPL stated that the examination and validation of information was done by MISPL. This provides evidence for the applicant network's presence in India. Further, the TP report states that all risks are undertaken by the applicant. Revenue as considered an applicant has various types of P in India. that is fixed place P, MIP located in India. Service P, that is applicants, employees are visiting in India, and employees of BOI, that is the customers, that are customer of the applicant, working for applicant. And dependent agent P, MISPL is legally and economically dependent on the applicant. Revenue is further contained in the payment of transaction processing fees and other fees by Indian clients to the applicant is both royalty and FTS. Some part accounts for royalty and some part accounts for FTS. It is royalty on account of use of brand name, trademark, etc., use of MIP equipment and MasterCard network, and use of software, whereas it is FTS since services provided by the applicant make available technical knowledge, experience, know-how to Indian clients, which helps them in their business. Eventually, revenue has considered there is requirement of withholding tax before payment is made to the applicant. So against the contention of the assessee, where assessee said no fee, so no business income, no royalty, and no FTS, these were the contentions of the revenue. Now, let us see what the AR had to say. AR ruling. So the application was made somewhere in 2014. AR ruling came in 2018. That is 6th June 2018. So it took 4 years for the AR to provide its ruling, but nevertheless the ruling came, and it was in the favor of revenue. Let's see how it was in favor of revenue. MIP is a fixed space P. So there were some 8 to 10 points which we summarize from the AR ruling, which summarized the entire AR ruling, and which was not again in favor of the applicant but in favor of revenue. To create a P, one has to pass it as permanency, fixed place, and disposal. ARs the automatic equipment for creating a fixed place does not mean the equipment should be fixed to the ground. Is sufficient compliance remains on a particular site. MIP is being placed at the site of customer banks in India constitute a fixed place. So MIP is being placed in BOIs, that is Bank of India's premises, constitutes a fixed place. So fixed place. So out of the 3 parameters to create a P, fixed place was confirmed. MIP further passes the test of permanence since they are placed on the site of customer banks throughout the year. Again, permanency test was passed because these MIPs are placed in the site of the customer bank throughout the year. Since all risk mitigation functions and all decisions with regard to respect to MIPs are performed taken by the applicant, it is observed that the MIPs are under the disposal of the applicant. So again, applicant has the right of all the functions and decisions with respect to MIPs. So without applicant, MIPs would not be effectively perform the services at the BOI's premises. So these MIPs were at the disposal of the applicant. Now, being these 3 parameters being satisfied, MIP constitute a fixed place P of applicant in India. This was enough, but this was enough for the department or for the AR to confirm that P is there in India, and there would be further attribution of profit. But there were some other points which the ARs shed light on. Let us see what were those. First point was relating to MIP fixed place P. Second was relating to the MasterCard network. Again, that would constitute. So first, AR said about MIP being fixed place P, then it went to MasterCard network. Although AR held that MIP constitute, it is important to see whether MasterCard network also creates P or not, because MIP is involved only in the authorization part of the transaction processing, while MasterCard network is involved in all the 3 phases of transaction processing, that is authorization, clearance, and settlement. So if AR would have stopped considering only MIPs. Intention was for the AR or against AR's MIP being a fixed place P. There might be chances that yes, applicant may say MIP was only involved in the authorization part and not the other core functions. So AR went a step ahead and said MasterCard network would be a fixed place P. How? Let us see. The MasterCard network is involved in authorization, clearance, and settlement. The activity of transmission of information between various banks in India and uploading of raw data and receipt of final data using application software are performed in India. So these functions are performed in India. Mastercard network in India consists of MIP owned by MISPL, transmission tower, leased lines, fiber optic cables, nodes and internet, and application software owned by the applicant. Just like MIP, Mastercard network passes the test of permanency in fixed place. It further passes the test of disposal since application software are owned by the applicant. So, because of these things, that is the core functions being performed in India, and also the network in India consists of MIP owned by MISPL and all these equipments and infrastructure being present in India. This by this the Mastercard or the Mastercard network passes the test of permanency and fixed place. Again, same, it is at the disposal of the applicant. Applicant controls the entire network as well. The task performed by MIP network in India application software are significant activities when seen in the context of overall functions of transaction processing rendered to a third party. So these are significant activities, that is the preliminary verification, validation part of authorization and encryption of data, transmission of data, and sending and receiving data. These are very important when it comes to transaction processing. So this being the fact and this being the case, Mastercard network would be regarded as a fixed place PE in India of the Singapore applicant. Let us see what AR had to further contain. Role of Bank of India in premises fixed place P. Bank of India carries out the settlement process on behalf of the applicant in India through a dedicated team in the space provided in the BOI itself for the employees to work for the applicant. For constituting space at BOI as fixed place P of the applicant, it is necessary the functions of the applicant are carried out through that space in BOI occupied by the dedicated team. So again, Mastercard would require, or say Mastercard Singapore or MISPL, that is Mastercard India, would require a premises. That premises were offered by Bank of India. So for that premises to be triggered as fixed place PE of the applicant, it is necessary that the functions of the applicant are carried out through that space in BOI. There is no doubt that settlement activity is happening in the premises of the Bank of India. This settlement activity is a function of applicant carried out by behalf on its carried out by BOI on its behalf and with all responsibility of error on the applicant. BOI carries out the settlement activity as an agent of the applicant and under its instruction and responsibility. Employees of BOI carrying out this work are under the control and supervision of applicant, and the space occupied by them in BOI is at the disposal of applicant. Hence, AR held that BOI premises constitutes fixed place P of the applicant. So, in order to perform transaction processing, applicant requires a bank premises. That premises were provided by Bank of India. So AR ruled that even that premises or the space being offered by Bank of India under the control and supervision of applicant, that would also be regarded as fixed place P. Next thing which AR had to say is about the MISPL being constituting a P of applicant in India. There is a transaction processing work that is being carried out through MIPs and Mastercard network in India, but the same is not reflected in the FAR profile of MISPL. So these core functions relating to MIPs, that is interface processors and the Mastercard networks, were being carried out by the Mastercard India, but the same were not reflected in the FAR profile of MISPL, seen in the transfer pricing report. Mastercard International Incorporated, which prior to 2004 was carrying out transaction processing service through its liaison office in India, had now been entirely taken over by MISPL, and the applicant took over the work of MCI. With the Indian subsidiary MISPL is only shown to be carrying out support activity in FAR and not carrying out actual transaction processing service, which is happening in India through MIPs claimed to be owned by it. This does not seem appropriate. Significant functions were taken out by MISPL but not reported in FAR profile. So the issue again, another issue which the AR pointed out is the transfer pricing study report, wherein even though the main functions, as we have seen before in a couple of slides before, that these main functions were carried out by MISPL, but these were not reflected in the FAR profile of transfer pricing study. Thus, for the transaction processing activity that is happening in India, which is not reflected in the FAR of MISPL, subsidiary company MISPL credit P of the applicant. So even though these activities were not reported by MISPL in its FAR. If I mean the group Mastercard group is not reporting this activities performed by MISPL in its FAR profile. So if that not being the case, so the worst case scenario, either it has to be into Indian entity's name, or it has to be in someone's name because the functions are being carried out in India. So if not MISPL, AR ruled that yes, in the absence that this being not reported in the profile of or FAR profile of MISPL, this would be done by or carried out by the P of the applicant in India. So this further confirmed that yes, if they themselves, that is the Mastercard themselves saying or applicant themselves saying that these functions are not carried out by MISPL, then there is a solid chance that these functions are being carried out by the P of Mastercard Singapore in India. Let us now move to service P. AR observed that the clients of applicant are in India. The first test for creating service P is satisfied since service is provided to Indian customers. Even if part of the process is automated, employees are needed to check if the process is working all right, to interact with clients, to meet clients, and to take feedback. These are parts of the service rendered to clients that are not steward activities, which are supporting activities. These are again main activities. These are part of services that applicant renders to client in India. So whatever main functions or main services which the applicant renders to India, for these services to be performed, employees are required and employees need to do these things, that is checking the process, interacting with client, meeting clients, taking feedback. This is important. If these functions are not there, the main function of the applicant cannot be provided in India. When employees visit India to perform to inform client about new products, it is part of service that would be provided by the applicant to the clients in India. The threshold. So these functions were carried out in India by the employees of applicant, that is employees of Mastercard Singapore in India. And again, the threshold which is provided of 90 days in India Singapore DDAA, that was also satisfied. Thus, the employees of applicant visiting India constitute a service P in India. So these employees would visit India, perform all these functions which are required for effective rendering of services, and these employees stayed for more than 90 days. This being the case, it was confirmed that applicant had service P in India. Next, agency P. MISPL is not habitually concluding contracts on behalf of the applicant. That is for sure. That means there was no nexus to confirm that MISPL, that is a Mastercard India, is habitually contracting contracts. But there was a contention that even though it not, they were securing orders because AR observed that orders or agreement are routed through MISPL through the finalization of the contract, though the finalization of the contract is by the applicant in India. It may not conclude contract, but yes, it satisfies the requirement of securing order because these agreements were routed through MISPL to the Mastercard Singapore. MISPL is legally and economically dependent on the applicant and gets its instructions and remuneration from the applicant. MISPL provides the proposals to the Indian bank that are prepared, validated, and approved by the applicant. Counter proposal, if any, is uploaded on the portal of the applicant outside India by the employees of MISPL. So, if not the function of habitually concluding the contracts, but the function of securing order, that is securing the contracts, was predominantly done by MISPL. This being the case, it was regarded that the it would be agency P, that Mastercard applicant Singapore would have agency P in India. So we have seen fixed place P, we have seen service P, friends, we have seen agency P. Now this on the P front. AR rule. What was said on the royalty income? License agreement between Mastercard International Incorporated MCA, that is a US-based company which owns the IP, and banks in India provides the licensee, that is banks, rights to use various trademarks and marks owned by the by it solely in connection with licensee payment card programs. Thus, it is clear the dominant purpose of the agreement is to allow use of intangibles for the payment card programs of licensees. Further, applicant is paying royalty to MCI for use of intangibles in Asia Pacific. The Indian part of the royalty pertains to use of intangibles in India. So the IP is owned by Mastercard US. It has licensed that to Mastercard Singapore. And Mastercard Singapore has taken the right to further license it to customers in Asia Pacific region. For that, there has been a payment being made. So whatever payment which was made by Mastercard Singapore to Mastercard US, it is royalty. In turn, again, customers to Mastercard applicant is again a royalty income. The agreement produced clearly states that the royalty paid by the applicant to MCA is for use of IP in India. Thus, it would be royalty. But there is again a twist. Now, when applicant has a P in India, which the AR has confirmed through its contentions or through its ruling in previous slides that the applicant has a fixed place P or a service P or an agency P, even though this being the royalty income, this would be as this is being effectively connected to P of applicant in India, it would be regarded as business income, even though it has a character of royalty income. Fees for technical services, again, it was said for the payment made to the applicant by the Indian clients to be taxed as FTS. AR stated that it has to first check whether it's a service or is a whether the service or it is a facility being provided. So modern day scientific technological developments may tend to blur the specific human element. Thus, human intervention is not the right test, and the right test is whether the service provided is a standard facility. So AR wanted to confirm whether the services provided by the applicant were actually a services or the facility. AR held that ultimately the beneficiary is the final customer who is using the card. Hence, whether the particular payment is royalty or services or facility needs to be seen from his perspective. Banks are only a medium for payment of fee to the applicant. Hence, AR held that relation between final consumer and the applicant is of use of a standard facility, because there is no physical or an online interface between the applicant and the final customers who are using the credit card or the debit or whatever the card which is being provided by the Mastercard. So here, final customer, friends, again, I'm not talking about the bankers, but I'm talking about the customers of the banker. And hence, this being the case, transaction processing service rendered to by the applicant cannot be taxed as FTS. There are services other than transaction processing service. So transaction processing services provided to the end customers, that is the final consumer who is using the card, that would be not be regarded as the fees for technical services. However, the services other than the transaction processing services such as warning bulletin fees for listing invalid or fraudulent accounts, card holder service fees, program management services, etc. These are not the standard facilities, but these are specific services which are required and which has to be rendered to the specific customer. However, again, that make available clause being present in India, Singapore, DTAA, even though these would be regarded as services and not facility, there is no make available of any technology or knowledge transfer being happening. So that being the case, this, even though having the character of service, would not be regarded as FTS. So the payments, whatever being made, as we have seen, friends, it would not be FTS. It would be a royalty income, but as it is effectively connected to a P, it would be regarded as business income. Applicant has asked whether the P of the applicant is found to exist, whether the provision of arm's length remuneration to such P for the activities to be performed in India would absolve any further attribution of the global profits of the applicant in India. So there was another question. Now, when the applicant India is providing arm's length remuneration to Mastercard India, whether that would absolve any further attribution of the global profits of the applicant in India. Yes, there has been a Morgan Stanley Supreme Court case law that no further attribution is required to P in India if the transactions have happened that or transactions have been remunerated on arm's length basis. However, since TP analysis does not adequately reflect the functions performed and the risk assumed by the non-resident enterprise, there would be a need to attribute further profits. Because of arm's length remuneration being provided from the Mastercard Singapore to India, they would have absolved the attribution of further global profits of applicant in India. But the TP analysis, or I would say rather the FAR analysis in the transfer pricing study, that did not give a clear picture as to who performs what functions. That being the case, there is a need to attribute further profit, because arm's length remuneration, you have to do a TP study. For TP study, again, FAR analysis is important, and the FAR analysis of MISPL did not reflect the actual functions performed by them, and also the functions performed by the non-resident enterprise, that is the Mastercard Singapore. Thus, in such a scenario, there is a need for further attribution of profits, even though they may say that the Mastercard Singapore has made the payment on arm's length basis, but FAR analysis not being clearly stating who performs what, attribution of profit would be there. Thus, in this scenario, withholding of tax would be required. As I said, this would not be regarded as royalty, but a business income. So there would be withholding, which is applicable for a non-resident having a business income in India. So it would be charged at a higher rate and not a lower rate of 10%. So this is again a summary that there is a fixed place fee, service fee, and dependent agent fee of Mastercard Singapore in India. Arm's length remuneration being provided that will not absolve the applicant from further attribution of its global profit, because the FAR analysis is not being done correctly. Not all the revenue shall be attributed. So there was one more contention of the AR, that not all the revenue shall be attributed to whatever is revenue being earned by Mastercard Singapore. Not everything would be charged to tax in India, because some major functions like significant other major functions are being carried out outside India as well. So there would be proper attribution, and for that, again, the assessing officer has to allocate or apportion relevant profits in India. That was the ruling of AAR. Now, against this AAR ruling, uh, there was a writ petition filed in the High Court by the Mastercard Singapore, stating that we are not happy with the AAR ruling and we want to challenge this ruling, and we need a confirmation through from the High Court. So they filed a writ petition. Along with filing the writ petition, they additionally filed a stay petition on the payment of equalization levy. So now, how this angle came in picture? Equalization levy is generally a tax charged on digital advertisement services provided by non-resident service provider at the rate of 6%. However, with effect from 1st April 2020, equalization levy is charged on all e-commerce transactions at the rate of 2%. So that being the case, again, Mastercard applicant, that is the applicant Mastercard Singapore, they thought like it is better to seek a stay, because or it acted proactively, stating that you never know. Again, the services which are being performed by Mastercard applicant, those fall within the ambit of equalization levy. So there may be a scenario where again Indian department or Indian tax department would also ask equalization levy. So against that, revenue accepted that in an affidavit filed with Honorable High Court that it was bound by the AR order. So to against when the stay was asked by Mastercard Singapore, against that, revenue said they are bound by the AR. So they are okay what was the ruling given by the AR, and therefore it would not collect equalization levy in respect of income on which taxes are already paid. So revenue said that yes, we won't collect equalization levy because we are more than happy to collect more tax. Equalization levy will give us 6%, but we are more than happy to collect more tax, because the AR ruling is in our favor, which has confirmed that P of Mastercard Singapore is in India. Revenue, however, further said that in case applicant succeeds, so there is unfortunately, if there is some a judgment in the favor of Mastercard Singapore, and it said that it does not have P in India, it would be eligible. So from 2014 till date, whatever tax has been paid in the form of advanced tax as well as TDS, that would be refunded along with statutory interest. But at the same time, applicant would be liable to pay the equalization levy with statutory interest. So if ruling of High Court is in favor subsequently, because what High Court said is uh, they cannot decide on this, whether PE of Mastercard Singapore is there in India or not. They cannot do this through video conference, and they would require personal hearings and multiple hearings for this. So they did not give any ruling on that. But on the stay petition, they said like in case there is a ruling which is in favor of Mastercard Singapore in future, whatever tax has been collected from Mastercard Singapore in the form of advance tax and TDS, that would be refunded along with interest. However, applicant would be liable to pay equalization levy, and vice versa. If again High Court gives the judgment in the favor of revenue, and Mastercard applicant does not proceed further with Supreme Court, then whatever taxes have been paid, or whatever taxes are being paid or interest being levied, that would continue to charge. They have to pay the normal taxes which are attributable for a P of non-resident in India. They would not be liable to pay equalization levy. So this was the ruling of High Court on the stay petition. Friends, please be clear, this was not ruling of the High Court against the writ petition filed by AR for applicant for them for their P being present in India or not. This was only of the stay, which was again accepted, which was also in the favor of Mastercard Singapore, which stated that yes, there would be stay, so department would not collect equalization levy. So this ruling implied that Mastercard has paid in India. AR ruling implied that Mastercard has paid by virtue of which the provision regarding AL shall not be applicable. So again, in the provisions of equalization levy, there are provisions wherein it says if there is a PE of a non-resident in India, provisions of equalization shall not be applicable. Department has considered to withdraw the EL provision since it is anticipating a larger pie of tax by virtue of AR ruling. It would now be interesting to see Honorable High Court's decision for writ petition filed with Mastercard against AR ruling, as it will have far-reaching implications on the EL legislation as well, which at the outset itself is prone with ambiguity. There are concerns, there are complexities in the levy of EL, that is equalization levy, and also there are various provisions which still have few ambiguities. So it would be interesting what would be the Honorable High Court's decision against for the writ petition filed by Mastercard Singapore, and we'll have to wait and watch what exactly would be their take on this ruling. If Mastercard succeeds, then department will be interested to pursue further appeal in the Supreme Court, as the various inferences are in their favor. As we have seen, friends, AR categorically stated for each and every point how Mastercard applicant had a fixed place P and a dependent agent P and service P. So things are pretty clear, and with the facts available, it seems that yes, Mastercard has P in India. So worst case scenario, if the High Court's decision is not in department's favor, they would further appeal to Supreme Court and get the confirmation from the Apex Court. So these are some of the thoughts, friends, on the Mastercard ruling, the AR ruling, as well as the High Court ruling for stay of petition. Uh, would would like to have a few questions if would like to answer that as well. Thank you, friends. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you.